Last year, Liverpool were hit with a bombshell as Jurgen Klopp announced he was leaving. And understandably so, there was a sense of dread. But Klopp's replacement couldn't have been any better as Arne Slot has won the Premier League in his first year at Anfield. Not a bad debut for him, but now he faces another challenge. Trent Alexander-Arnold is joining Madrid on a free, and the majority of Liverpool's team now are getting on a bit. And of course, expectations are getting higher. So as Arne Slot enters his second year at Anfield, we'll be helping him out. We'll continue to develop Liverpool and build it for the future, and we'll see if we can win Arne Slot his first Champions League for Liverpool. And so, this is Arne Slot's Liverpool team at the beginning of the 2025-2026 campaign. And it's no secret why they're the champions, guys. They're fantastic. Players like Alisson, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk, McAllister, Gravenberch, Mo Salah. Just world-class talent everywhere. Not to mention Mamardashvili, who's now going to be playing for Liverpool. There's youngster Connor Bradley, who's a fantastic fullback. There's Tyler Morton, there's Jarell Quansah, there's Harvey Elliott. So they've got their fair share of younger talent as well. We can all agree why they're the best team in England, ladies and gents, but I think this year we tried to push further and beyond that. Now the first training session's done and dusted, and the boss wanted to have a little chat with Arne Slot about this season's objectives. Well, it's safe to say you've settled in nicely here in England. Only one season here with us and you've already won the Premier League. Yes boss, it's a great feeling, but I'm a bit disappointed we didn't win more last year as I felt like we were capable of that. I agree, and that's why this year you've got 120 million to spend. But now that Trent's left and some of our best players are getting gone a bit, it might be worth buying for the present and future of this club. And you know what guys, he might have a point. Because you've got Mo Salah who's now 33 years old, you've got Virgil van Dijk who's 33 years old. Andrew Robertson now 31 years old himself. All right now, very key players for Liverpool. Thankfully though, we do have 120.4 million to spend, and we're going to try and do what the boss wants us to do, buying for the present as well as the future, but we're going to keep this as realistic as possible at the same time. So with that being said, I have compiled a short list of every player I've seen so far that Liverpool are currently linked to in real life. And if right now you're about to get arse because one of these players aren't linked to Liverpool, don't blame me, blame the internet. However, I must say myself, looking at this shortlist again, there's some players here that are more realistic than others to join in Liverpool. For example, Kevin De Bruyne, whilst he's a free agent and Liverpool has shown interest, I highly doubt he'll be joining Liverpool. But other players could, like Adam Wharton for example, Benjamin Sesko, Angelo Stiller, Morgan Rogers. However, whilst these are all still up for debate because nothing's happened in real life, we do know of one player that's currently on his way to Anfield right now. As Liverpool have just activated Jeremy Frimpong's release clause, so he's officially going to be a Liverpool player next year. However, of course, for us it cost us a little bit more, which now only leaves 55 million to spend. And for me personally, that's not enough, so instead of focusing on in real life players they're trying to bring in, I'm going to focus on players in real life they're trying to get rid of now. And from my research guys, as far as I could tell, these are the only 4 players on their way out. Chiesa though is a tricky one. It currently looks like he's heading back to the Serie A, but it's only on a loan to buy move, which is why right now we've only got him up for a loan. As for the rest of these guys though, they're fair game to being sold. And there we go, all 4 are gone from the club just like that. Chiesa's was actually perfect guys, he's gone to Napoli for you with a loan to buy clause of 36 million, which now gives us 111 million total to spend. And yes guys, we can make use of this. Now guys, I'm looking at the team here and I'm trying to figure out what's more important, focusing on the present of Liverpool or focusing on the future. Because in real life, Liverpool are looking for a left back, they're currently without a striker now that we sold Nunes. But on the flip side, we could be looking for future replacement for Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk. And as you can see from our shortlist, we've got no shortage of options for both of those choices. But in real life guys, I don't see Salah and Van Dijk slowing down or leaving Liverpool anytime soon, so for now we're going to focus on the present. And right now Liverpool are in need for an out and out proper striker, which is why Benjamin Sesko has answered that call for 58.5 million. And he looks incredible guys, 6'5", 88 pace, 81 shooting, 82 physicality. If Liverpool get this guy in real life, they're looking at another Premier League title. And for our last signing of potentially this entire season, we're going for someone who in real life Liverpool have been linked to for quite a while, and Milos Kerkez. this. He's already a fantastic player at only 21 years old, and is already the perfect replacement for Robertson, so we killed two birds with one stone. Now as for the rest of these guys on this shortlist, I'm going to keep my eye on them because later down the line you never know, we might need a couple of them. However, looking at the state of this team with the improvements we've made to it, something tells me we'll be fine without them for now, guys, but there is one more thing we need to figure out before we move into the new campaign, and that's deciding our number one keeper now between Alisson and Mamardashvili. It's kind of similar to when Chelsea had to decide between Petr Cech and Thibaut Courtois. But for me personally, I think we keep with Alisson for at least this year. And then once we kick in next year, Mamardashvili will take the reins and then go forward. Because as harsh as this is, guys, Alisson might be the present, but Mamardashvili is the future. Right now though, we have to focus on the present as we face Manchester City in the FA Community Shield final. And for me, I'm not bothered about the Community Shield, I'm more focused on how we play against Man City. It was a complete stalemate for the first 25 minutes until Gakpo found a bit of room behind Man City's defence and put us ahead. Just 5 minutes later though, that lead went away as Man City got one back. It was then once again a stalemate, however just before half time we very nearly took the lead again. City though did take the lead in the 62nd minute in the second half. Thankfully though, after a gorgeous through ball from Benjamin Sesko, Cody Gakpo got his brace. Literally straight after though, we conceded and went 3-2 down again. That's the second time we conceded from kickoff. This time though, we paid the price for it as we could not get a third goal ourselves, which led to Man City beating us and winning the Community Shield. And losing the Community Shield isn't what bothers me, it's the fact that we lost to Manchester City, who we're clearly capable of beating. We however had to shake it off and move on as our first game of the new Premier League campaign was beginning, and it was against Newcastle United. And we started like the last game never happened as Benjamin Sesko got his first goal for Liverpool. And instead of conceding directly after, we very nearly made it 2-0 after 24 minutes. However, the next goal wouldn't be from us, it would be Newcastle United 3 minutes before half time. That however seemed to wake us up, and Gakpo out of nowhere put us back in the lead. I have to say though, Gakpo, what a play. Directly from kickoff though, we once again conceded. We seriously need to stop doing this. To be fair though, we went ahead and did the exact same to Newcastle. Then in the last seconds of the game, Sesko scored this beauty of a goal, but it was ruled offside. In the end though, it didn't matter because we won and got all 3 points. Which I'm happy about, but we've got to stop conceding so easily. It's safe to say though, we were improving every aspect of our game after a commanding 3-0 win over Fulham. We then got a very solid 2-0 win over Brighton, and we got 3 points from Crystal Palace with this gorgeous long-range effort from Harvey Elliott. And yes, we should be beating these teams, but these are the teams we need to beat to be the Premier League champions again. And this is what I mean, 4 games played, 4 games won, top of the table, undefeated. Right now, once again, Arne Slot's cooking. But can he do it where he failed to last year, as we are starting our Champions League campaign this time against Dortmund? And early on, we were the dominant team as Benjamin Sesko rifled this into the back of the net. Then just 10 minutes later, Salah doubled our advantage. And then Szoboszlai scored this beauty just shy of the half-hour mark. So it's safe to say we've got off to a good start in the Champions League. And we simply continue to play well as we smashed Wigan in the Carabao Cup. We got a very solid win over a really stubborn Bournemouth side. We beat FC Michelin 3-0 with a gorgeous long-range goal from Harvey Elliott. And we absolutely smashed Everton in this grudge match. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that deserves a like on this video. And if you're new around here, you should consider subscribing as well. And with that, we are top of the Premier League by 3 points, having lost 1 all season, and we are set for round of 16 football in the Champions League. Guys, Arne Slot is on a roll with Liverpool. I mean, you've just got to look at these stats to see it, man. 23-9 for Salah, 15-4 for Sesko, 10-2 for Gakpo, 6-2 for Gravenberch. We are having a fantastic campaign. But the boss has just walked into Arne Slot's office for a chat, and he doesn't seem as happy as he should be. So far, we can't fault you or the team. We're genuinely on for the quadruple this season. But I remember being in a similar position to this last year as well, and out of the 4 trophies we could have won, we only won 1. So don't slip up. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Don't mess with the system, and hopefully this year we'll have 1 or 2 or even 4 trophies added to our cabinet. And now I can see why he wasn't as happy as he should be, because he's absolutely right. Last year, out of the 4 trophies he could have won, he only won the Premier League. And whilst that's an amazing achievement considering what they could have won, it was a little disappointing. So despite us having 30 million to spend in January, I'm going to do what the boss says and not change a damn thing. We're going to keep the team team as it is, the tactics as it is, the formation as it is, because quite simply put, you do not change a working system. And hopefully we can prove this as we're facing Arsenal in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, where we're already 2-2 apiece on aggregate. This is the first trophy we can win this year, so hopefully we don't muck this up. However, it was the worst possible start, as within 10 minutes Saka put Arsenal 1-0 up. On the 15-minute mark we almost equalised, but Raya pulled a great save off here. Then straight after that Arsenal went up our end and made it 2-0 on the night. Oh my god, we're choking it already. And it almost got worse early in the second half, as how Arsenal didn't score here is a miracle. Thankfully though, just 9 minutes later Mo Salah got us back in the game. But straight after, out of nowhere, Odegaard banged this in the back of the net. And then 3 minutes after that, Sesko got one for us. Guys, I genuinely can't keep up with this. But thankfully, the next goal would be from us, and we made it 3-0 on the night, 5-5 on aggregate. And then with 10 minutes to spare, Sesko got his brace and the 4th of the night for us. Then straight after, he set Gakpo up for his 2nd of the night, our 5th of the night, to send us through to the Carabao Cup final. Oh my god, that was way tougher than it needed to be. We, however, dropped the ball in our next game against Brentford, as they managed to get a 2-2 draw against us. And then we dropped a further 3 points against the Hammers. And that now means 28 games into the Premier League campaign, we are 3 points behind Arsenal. I don't know what's happened since January, but we need to get our form back. And we had to do it now, as we faced Juve in the round of 16 of the Champions League. We are 2-1 up on aggregate going into the second leg, but we can't take that for granted. Especially considering straight away Juve took advantage of our defence going to sleep and went 1-0 up. Thankfully though, straight after, Sesko got one back for us. And he almost put us 2-1 up on the night, if not for a great save from Juve's keeper here. Then with 7 minutes to go of the second half, Salah got a goal himself. With 20 minutes to go though, Juve were back on our tails as they made it 2-2. But then Salah went up the other end, made it 3-2 on the night, 5-3 on aggregate to send us through to the quarters. Which is exactly what we were after, but now instead of the Champions League, we're focusing our attention elsewhere. As we now have a chance to win the Carabao Cup, we've just got to get past Manchester City first. And it was very nearly the perfect start, but Jota's attempt just went over the bar. Haaland's attempt up the other end, however, didn't, as he rattled the netting instead. And things just got worse as we went 2-0 down before half time. Thankfully though, before that half-time whistle blew, we did get one back. But guys, we need to step it up in the second half. And that's exactly what we did, as early in the second half, we got the equaliser. But then straight after, from absolutely nothing, Haaland put this in the back of the net. Oh my god, he does by head, and he does. With 28 minutes to go though, Luis Diaz broke through City's back line and got one back. Then with just 4 minutes left in this game, Gakpo seemed to have gotten us the winner. But guys, you probably guessed what happened next. We went on to beat Man City 4-3 on the night to win the Carabao Cup. We got our revenge on them from the Community Shield, and that's 1 trophy down this year, 3 to go. If we're to win the Champions League though, we've first got to get past Bayern in the quarters. And it's not looking good, as we're 2-0 down going into the second leg. We almost had the dream start though, as Salah's shot was denied. The next chance in the game wouldn't come until after the half-hour mark, where Sesko got one back for us. However, before half-time, Musiala gave Bayern their 2-0 lead again. It was officially all or nothing in the second half. But early in the second half, Bayern killed the game as Ulis dinged Alisson to boot their place in the semi-final. Guys, we're now officially out of the Champions League, so now our focus has to go on the Premier League and FA Cup now. And if we want to win the Premier League, this next game is a must-win as we take on top of the league, Arsenal. If we win, we're back in the title race, but if we lose, we're kissing goodbye to the Premier League. Straight away though, Arsenal looked the better team and they forced a save from Alisson early on. However, just 3 minutes later on the counter-attack, we went straight up the other end and got a 1-goal advantage. Then just shy of the half-hour mark, Gakpo burst through Arsenal's back line and put us 2-0 on. And then with less than 20 minutes to go, Mo Salah killed the game dead with this gorgeous goal here. And this now means in the final stretch of the campaign, we are 1 point behind Manchester City in a 4-way title race. This next game though is now our biggest of the year so far, as we're in the FA Cup semi-finals against Derby County. I know it's only the Rams and we should beat them on paper, but this is the FA Cup. You never know what's going to happen. But guys, we had the perfect start as this shot from Salah struck Derby County's hand, which then led to a penalty and Mo Salah bagged it away. Derby weren't out for the count though, as they forced a great save from Alisson here. In fact, directly after, if not for for my Huddersfield, his great reflexes, they'd have scored here. We then had a chance up the other end, and how Luis Diaz did not put this away, I'll never know. But then straight after, Harvey Elliott doubled our lead, and we sealed the deal before half-time as Mo Salah gave us our third of the game to book our place in the final. And that is fantastic, but for now we need to put the FA Cup to the side and focus on the Premier League. And this next game could make our season or break it, as we now face off against league leaders Manchester City. If we win, we may just win the title, but if we lose, we are unequivocally out of the title race. Unfortunately though, City would strike the first blow as that man again, Erling Haaland, put them 1-0 up. And then he did it again, just shy of half time. Guys, we might be kissing goodbye to the Premier League title. With 25 minutes to go though, we showed signs of life as Mo Salah got one back for us. And he very nearly got a second here, but Ederson pulled an amazing save off. With 5 minutes to go though, we had a lifeline as McAllister's shot here struck their defender in the penalty box. And Mo Salah bagged it away. If we can get another goal, we're back in the title race. However, that was all she wrote and Man City escaped with a point. Well, to be fair, we're not out of the title race. These 2 games left and 1 point separates us. But the likelihood is City aren't dropping points, so unless a miracle happens, they're winning the title. So let's instead focus on the FA Cup final where we're facing none other than the Tractor Boys. On paper, we should beat these guys, but I am not taking them for granted. And we went at them full throttle, as seen from this attempt from Salah that ended up in the back of the net. Then after the 22nd minute, we went 2-0 up. And then in the dying seconds of the game, something insane happened. Nah, I'm only messing. We beat Ipswich 2-0 very comfortably to win the FA Cup. So that is the Carabao Cup and FA Cup we've won with Slot this year, but I have to be honest, I'm curious to see where we finished in the Prem. Well, I'll be damned, we actually won the Premier League. As you can see, we won our last 2 games of the season, but Man United actually won us the Premier League. So that means we've got the Premier League, FA Cup and Carabao. What a second year it's been for these guys, man, and what a second year it's been for Arne Slot. But it gets even better. Just look at how many goals and assists this year we got, man. Salah with 47 and 17, 35 and 7 for debuting Sesko, 19 and 5 for Gakpo. It's just been an unbelievable campaign. But the one thing that's eluded us this year is the Champions League, and as you can see, Inter Milan have won it this time. But considering the fact this year this team's just won 3 trophies, I don't see why next year we can't go all the way in the Champions League and add that to our cabinet as well. And as the new season dawns for Arne Slot at Liverpool, the boss has invited himself into his office for another chat. Well, you went above and beyond last year, didn't you? The Premier League, FA and Carabao Cup all in one season is pretty damn impressive, so well done. Thanks, boss. I'm really happy with our performance last year, but if I'm being honest, there's an itch right now that I just need to scratch. I know exactly what you mean. You won everything last year except for the Champions League. Don't worry though, you'll have another crack at it this year with an additional 138 million to spend too. But I'll say it again, consider the present and the future at this club, because some players might start to show their age this year. And as much as this sucks to admit, he's probably right. Because right now Virgil van Dijk is 34 years old, we've got Mo Salah 34 years old, Alisson 33, Endo 33, Robertson 32 now. I think it might be a good idea for this year to think about the future for those positions. And true to his word, we've got 138.3 mil bang on the money. But this money won't solve all of our problems just like that. We've got to figure out how and where we're spending it. Because it's very easy saying build for the future of this club and replace the old players. But a couple of these guys last year were instrumental in our success. Robbo, for example, filled in where Kirkes couldn't and did a cracking job. Alisson was absolutely phenomenal. And Mo Salah was actually the club's top goal scorer. There's only one position it kind of makes sense to think about the future for. And that is the centre-back role where Virgil van Dijk plays. Don't get me wrong, he's a cracking player still. But there's certain things I noticed last year that will probably get worse this season that will let him down massively. The biggest one right now though, guys, as you can see, is his stamina. I'm willing to bet right now he wouldn't last 60 minutes in a game. And guys, unfortunately, it is only going to get worse. But don't worry, I've got the perfect player in mind to respectfully phase Van Dijk out of the team and bring him into it. And that player is Jarell Hayter, who we we've just spent 46 million on. Everything about this guy just makes sense. He's absolutely rapid, he's fantastically well-rounded, can play as a full-back and a centre-back too. And with him being so young at 20 years old, he's got his entire career to become better and maybe even surpass Van Dijk. We will be training him to be a centre-back though, which will take 9 weeks in total. Once that's finished though, the phasing out of Van Dijk and the phasing in of Jarell Hato will be in. The question is now though, what do we do with the rest of this 87 million? Well, my answer right now is absolutely nothing, because there's no way in hell I'm replacing Mo Salah after the season he had last year. We have Alisson's replacement to Mamardashvili already ready, and Milos Kerkez has already replaced Robertson. So I'm going to do the smart thing and save that money until January. And we're about to find out if I'm going to live to regret that decision, as the start of the new season begins, of course, against Manchester City in the FA Community Shield. Now, last season, we did beat them more than they beat us, but they did beat us to win this trophy. This game, though, was slightly different as we were incredibly evenly matched. However, Sesko did get the first opportunity after 25 minutes. And then just 10 minutes later, Salah very nearly made it 1-0 to us. Early in the second half, though, we got our goal courtesy of Benjamin Sesko. And I truly thought one goal was all it was going to take this time, but then Erling Haaland out of nowhere stepped up and got the equaliser. Yes guys, it was going to a penalty shootout. Alexis McAllister was up first and he buried it. Then it was Haaland's turn and he just about scored. It was Mo Salah up next and of course he bagged it away. It was Nunez up next and he missed. Then up stepped Szoboszlai and he missed as well. Savinho stepped up and buried it, and then so did Gakpo. And then so did Edison. Sesko stepped up to make it 4-3, and somehow Alisson didn't save this. Yeah, he's getting dropped. Time for sudden death, Gravenberch stepped up and buried it. Nico Gonzalez stepped up for his and missed it. And unlike last year, this time we beat Man City to win the Community Shield. Which guys, I'll be honest, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy about it, but now we have to focus on the bigger and better things, as the Premier League campaign is about to begin. This time though, we are facing off against the Pride of London, Chelsea. To start with though, Chelsea were the team showing signs of early dominance as they very nearly took the lead here. But they pretty much did straight after, as Noni Madueke took it around Alisson and bagged it in an open net. Gotta be honest though, that was a gorgeous bit of play. Before half time though, we had a nice bit of play of our own as Gakpo found Sesko in a bit of space and his first touch went right into the back of the net. And early in the second half, Sesko almost got his second, but somehow missed this. Arne Slot's reaction here tells the entire story. And guys, it came back to bite us in the backside as João Felix put Chelsea 2-1 up shortly after. Then 2 minutes later, Palmer made it 3-1. We did still have life with 5 minutes to go as Sesko had this chance here. It was, however, too little, too late. Chelsea beat us 3-1 and took all 3 points, which I've got to be honest is not the start to the Premier League campaign I was after. I still had hope for a great start to the Champions League campaign as we faced off against Dortmund first, because this is the one trophy we've yet to win, guys, so this realistically is a must win. Early on though, Kerbal kept Dortmund in the game with this great save here, and he did it again just 4 minutes later with this effort from Gomez. He, however, couldn't hold out forever as Sesko found Salah from this gorgeous through ball and he put us 1-0 up. And shortly after, another through ball completely split Dortmund's defence apart, allowing Sesko to get the second. Dortmund, however, got one back as this shot from Guirassy came from absolutely nowhere. Seriously, fair play. Early in the second half though, we fired back ourselves with a goal from Sesko. And just 7 minutes later, he got his hat-trick to win us the game. And that is exactly what I was after from the boys, but now we need to keep this going in the Champions League and in the Premier League. And it seemed like we were doing just that as we beat the Tractor Boys 3-1. We got a very tight 1-0 win over Galatasaray from this gorgeous goal from Szoboszlai. We then swept Aston Villa aside like they were nothing, and we absolutely dismantled one of Italy's strongest teams in Atalanta. And that means in the Champions League we are 6 games unbeaten in the league phase, and we are once again in a title race alongside Man City, Arsenal and West Ham. Hey, fair play. And as you can see from our players' goals and assists this year, they're really good as well. Once again, Arne Slot's cooked. And once again the boss has come to Slot for a little chat about the rest of the campaign. Well, here we are in the exact same position almost as last year. This is becoming a pretty common thing, which is fantastic. Although admittedly this is the stage of the season where things begin to go downhill, so I came with good news. Given what you did last year with us, the board isn't fussed about the FA or Carabao Cup. They want you to prioritise the Champions League and Premier League. This doesn't mean we don't want to win everything, but if it comes down to it, you know what you should put first. Well, it looks like our goals this year have slightly changed, and we've still got all this money to spend in January as well. But I might sound crazy here, I'm not going to spend a penny of it, because realistically, looking at this team and what it's achieved so far this year, we simply don't need to invest any more money into it. And it was time to put my money where my mouth was, as our next match was a complete grudge match against Manchester United. I'll say this though, United weren't backing down as they forced a great save from Amadashvili early on, and again very shortly after the first save. And then we went straight up the other end and rattled the bar. Guys, this ain't staying 0-0 for long. Or so I thought at least anyway, as somehow after a mountain of chances we had here, we still couldn't score. At long last though, our well-deserved goal came just before half-time. However, early in the second half, United fired back with a goal themselves. With less than half an hour to go though, Sesko set Salah up for the easiest goal of his career. And thanks to some beautiful football by Benjamin Sesko, he did the exact same for Salah just 5 minutes later. And then Salah returned the favour for Sesko and got us our 4th goal of the game for all 3 points. And if we can keep this going in the league, guys, we're looking at yet another title. And so far, that's exactly what we were doing after we wiped out Newcastle United 3-0. We then got an insanely tight 2-1 win against Nottingham Forest. And we absolutely smashed Brentford 3-1. And that actually puts us top of the league by 5 points. Which is amazing because we've got room for error, but now we have to focus on the Champions League. And we really do have to switch on now as we face off against one of the strongest teams in this competition, PSG. The only consolation, we had 2-0 up on aggregate going into the second leg. And it was a good job we had margin for error as PSG went 1-0 up inside of 20 minutes. We were showing signs of life though as we forced a great save from Donnarumma. But just shy of half time, Gonçalo Ramos made it 2 apiece on aggregate. Guys, we need a serious second half performance. And it looked like we woken up as we started the second half strong with a great attempt here from Luis Diaz. And then straight from the corner, Sesko picked the ball up and put it right in the back of the net. Then with 20 minutes to go, Sesko got his praise to restore our 2-goal cushion on aggregate. With just 5 minutes to go though, PSG got one back courtesy of Kvaratskhelia. Thankfully though, the damage was already done and we knocked PSG out of the Champions League. And surely from this point onwards, it's only going to get easier, right? Well, I would say so, as we faced Arsenal in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. We were, however, 2-2 on aggregate, so we needed a strong start, and we very nearly got one here from Salah. Shortly after though, there was no denying Sesko as we went 1-0 up. And if Sesko had his shooting boots on here, we would have gone 2-0 up. And we seriously paid the price for it as Arsenal went up the other end and made it 1-1. Yet again, we needed a good second half performance. And it was almost the dream second half start, but Salah just panicked at the last minute and put it straight down right his throat. Thankfully though, Luis Diaz didn't have that problem, as with half an hour to go, he put us 2-1 up. And then in the dying seconds of the game, Luis Diaz put the exclamation mark on a very good victory over Arsenal to send us through to the semis. From this point, I was convinced it was smooth sailing to the final, but I was so goddamn wrong. As we now face the ultimate Champions League test in getting past the Galacticos. And with us drawing 1-1 on aggregate, we needed a strong start, and it's exactly what we got this time courtesy of Benjamin Sesko. As you'd expect though, Madrid weren't backing down and Mbappe forced a great save here. But then Gakpo made Trent look like a donkey here, he fed Sesko in and he scored a second. And this was all within 25 minutes. But we weren't stopping, as early in the second half, Gakpo very nearly made it 4-1 on aggregate. With 15 minutes to go though, Madrid did get one back, but it was ruled out offside. Up the other end though, Sesko broke through Madrid's defence, he was clearly onside, he banged one away to not trench Real Madrid out and send us through to the final. And that's a lesson guys, sometimes the grass isn't always green. As we're now playing Bayern Munich in the Champions League final, and Real Madrid's season in the Champions League is done and dusted, but that does bring me to another question. How have we done elsewhere? Well, Arne Slot has won the Premier League for the 3rd time in a row, this time by 6 points. points. He, however, did not win the FA Cup, and he didn't win the Carabao Cup. But we've won the Prem, the Community Shield, and we have a 50-50 chance of winning the UCL, so honestly, I couldn't care less. Stats-wise too, guys, as you can see, once again, a phenomenal campaign, especially Sesko and Salaman. Them pair are just on a different stratosphere, as this is the team going into the final to challenge Bayern Munich to become the best team in the world. And it's safe to say over the last 2 years, the dawn of a new era of Slot's Liverpool's really began, hasn't it? And hopefully we can polish it off. We have won everything with Arne Slot so far with Liverpool, except for one trophy, the Champions League. We, however, did not get the start we were after, as Bayern Munich's Harry Kane put them 1-0 up. Looks like after winning the Bundesliga, he's hungry for more trophies. Unfortunately for Bayern, we had a striker of our own hungry for the Champions League, as Sesko made it 1 apiece. And then with 15 minutes to go in the first half, the ball found its way to Sesko, and then it ended up in the back of the net. And early in the second half, Sesko very nearly put the game to bed here. And he almost did it again with 15 minutes to go. We just need one more goal. Also, I thought at least as 2-1 was indeed enough to beat Bayern Munich and crown ourselves the best team in the world. And that, ladies and gents, is mine and Arne Slot's job done with Liverpool. If you have enjoyed this video and want to see more content in this format, drop this video a big old thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to see another video of mine right this second, I'd say you should watch this, because this is a pretty damn good video too.